well, really it's two processes, right? You're either missing the relationship building process or you're missing the offer and sale process. And a lot of realtors fall into I don't have the offer and sales process. But there are also several that like, hey, I want all the leads, but they don't have the relationship process to keep those leads. And that's when they go into their CRM, Garrett, and they're like, hey, I have 4,000 people in here. Should I send something out? It's like, well, do you even know those people? It's like, well, no, they were like open house and we never talked after that. Welcome back, everyone, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire people to live at the pinnacle of their ability and purpose. Welcome, welcome. As always, I'm Matt and he's Garrett, and we are excited to be with you guys for another incredible episode. We have a wonderful topic today. And before we dive into it, just a quick reminder, as always, if you guys want to be a part of our incredible community called the 11 Circle, where we do live coaching, Success Lab workshops. We're even doing a book reviews in there. We did one last month. I'm thinking about it as if we're going to do it because we are going to do it. But as the time that this comes out, it's already been done. We do co-working sessions. There's so much great stuff that happens inside the 11 Circle. So head over to lifeat10tenths.com to learn more about that. And why the 11 Circle, Garrett? Well, because it's one more than 10.
One more than 10. And, it's incredible to watch it start to grow and build out, and the feedback that we're getting from it is, I'll just say it's what I was envisioning it start to be. And it's one of those that you can have a picture in your mind. You can kind of say like, I think it's going to work this way. And it's really cool to all of a sudden start to see it come to like fruition and start to plan out and to kind of happen. So I appreciate everybody who's involved in that community and the interaction that you're giving into it. And the more like-minded people we have in there, the more powerful that community is becoming. So come one, come all. Love to have you there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, that said, we have a fun topic today, an important one, right? Like, this is actually really how you sell in a way, but it's a cautionary tale on selling, Garrett.
What I'm excited about the topic and where we're going to go today is we'll say it's how fast a human relationship, a strong human relationship interaction that we're having, building a connection with somebody can be damaged, go sideways, or go weird when a scarcity sales mindset all of a sudden enters the room. And it's something we have to be so incredibly careful of. And Matt, as you and I mean, all of our relationship over all this time has been built around helping people build incredible relationships, incredible bonds, and working that in a way that allows sales to be a byproduct of those incredible relationships. And a lot of people get into sales training always going, but when do I make the sale? When do I sell my product? When do I push my product? And this is not, I know we talk to a lot of real estate agents. I know we talk to a lot of people in the real estate industry. And hopefully everybody listening today, this is not real estate that we're going to talk about today. This is being a business owner, running a business, selling any type of product of whatever it is. Like, this is that moment that you're building this incredible database, incredible relationships. And when and how do you bridge that gap to be able to say, okay, now it's okay for me to bring up my product, my service, whatever that might be. And it gets damaged. It gets messed up a lot, Matt. I've messed it up.
Well, and these are scenarios where you take a conversation and turn it into pushing product or service that can create a sales wall that just cannot be broken down. And I actually see this a lot with people who are trying to sell supplements or fitness programs. Because who doesn't answer the question of like, hey, do you want to lose weight? Do you want to be more fit? Do you want to be, stronger? Almost everyone says yes. And a lot of people who sell those programs and products and systems take that yes as great. Oh, Garrett, you want to be in better shape? You should buy this protein powder. And it's like, wait a minute. No, I'm not ready to buy that. And it's like, oh no, and this, and you should get this supplement and you should do this thing. And all of a sudden the sales wall is created, which there's an abundance of people who sell those things, just like there's an abundance of realtors out there. And so then the next conversation that you have that actually is about, well, tell me about your goals. Tell me about what you're looking to achieve. And you go down that path, you have a longer conversation. And maybe there is, Gary, you mentioned human situation. Maybe there's something else there where they're not ready to make a purchase. They just want to kind of share a little bit. And the conversation ends with like, awesome, man. Well, hey, I'm here for you. I'll check in a little bit, see how you're doing. And then there will be a sales opportunity down the road. Those people tend to make more sales in the long run because they're not pushing that product right off the bat. And there can be maybe a lag sometimes in trying to get some recurring revenue going with that strategy, but it's definitely much more sustainable because you qualify your people in a much better way and they build trust, which is an important part of this conversation.
Well, I think it's interesting that you brought up the kind of the health and fitness industry and supplement, and you do spend a lot of time in the supplement world. I know that there's companies that you follow and you support, and you very easily can get into their marketing platform and stream where all of a sudden you're getting bombarded with everything. The one that's always caught me off guard. And so let me start off this with Orange Theory Fitness. I have had lots of people that have said it's an amazing workout. It's an amazing situation where you all come in and you're all doing the same workout and you're all being pushed and people rave about it. I've had many people say that is an incredible place to go and to have your workout, get your fitness in. Here's the thing. We had an Orange Theory come to my town. They set up shop and very quickly they were like, mass marketing, even before they were open, mass marketing all over. We're doing free. Come down, have a session on us and come in and check us out. And when they were being put in, I was in a place of really trying to find where I wanted to have as my gym, my place to go work out. So I was like, I'll go down there. So I showed up, sat in for the meeting. I was not ready to work out. I just kind of wanted to see what it was all about. And there was a moment that I was like, I really like this idea. And I even had friends in the room that were there to work out that day. And they're like, oh, Garrett, this is awesome. Like, this is a great, great, great environment. I was like, this is so cool. I did not sign up. I am on their phone call list though. And it's interesting is they have information on me. They're connected with me and they've reached out a couple of times. And the first couple of times it was a nice, like, hey, Garrett, just want to see if you're ready to come and try out. We'd love to have you come in. And then it got more salesy and more salesy. And the more that I've said, please don't call me anymore. Like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm not interested anymore. Oh, hey, yeah, we will take you off the list. 2 months later, boom, phone call comes through again. Texts come through. I've texted, stop sending me stuff. They have now gone to a place that I will never sign up for their situation. I will. And this is what you said. You can build a wall. And this is so important, is that you can build a wall that cannot be torn down. Like, it is over. It is done. There is no amount that they can keep pushing on me and saying, hey, come and check out our new thing. I see it doesn't even say on the, where it turns the actual voicemail into text. It doesn't say the name of their company correctly. It never translates it correctly in my phone. So I'm always, when I see it, I'm like, what? Oh, I know what that is. Nope. Delete that one. I've tried blocking their number. It won't work. I don't know what their system is, but there's a certain point that pressure and that push and that you've got to be so careful. Now that's the extreme. And Matt, what we're really initially talking about here is how fast it can go from building a great relationship with somebody to then all of a sudden just having it step over that line in the wrong way. And even that, it can be hard to recover from.
And I think this is understanding the difference between a sales process and marketing and advertising, right? Because marketing and advertising happen before sales and also happen, in between conversations, in between the relationship building. And I think, using your experience as an example, there was an opportunity for them to say, okay, we have this person who's not ready. Let's make sure we focus on the relationship and don't use these methodologies that he said he does not want these communications from to push marketing and advertising. Instead, let's make sure we're showing up for Garrett in his mailbox, on his social media feed by running, paid advertising there in places where he expects to see marketing and ads, because you obviously can't have a one-to-one conversation necessarily through an advert. But let's use the text message to be like, hey Garrett, how are your fitness goals going this week? Right now, at some point, people still might say no. You're not. There's no surefire way to have everybody say yes. But at least there in that scenario, Garrett, you would feel a little bit more like, hey, they do care about me. Yes, of course they care because they want to grow their business, which is totally fine. But they're taking the appropriate steps.
Well, this is where I'm a results-based person, Matt. So it's like what really got my attention was when I was standing in their shop and my friend said, "Oh my gosh, you got to check this out. This is incredible. And I love coming here." That got my full attention. We've now transitioned into I get no results anymore. I have not seen any results or anybody say, I love it, like locally here since then.
Sign up. This is our deal.
It's just sign up. Here's our promotion. Here's our stuff. Here's our thing. And this is what we got to be careful about in any industry is that they had this opportunity to build a connection and a relationship with me. I was in-house. I was right in front of them. I was standing in their building and they had this moment to do it and it was not taken. It was missed. It was lost. And I think in all of our industries, we have these opportunities when we're face to face with people that we can sit back and say, okay, I need to build a relationship with these people. We know that there's core things that light people up in their world. There's fundamental pieces that are the important things that make up what their life is and who they are and why their life is worth living. And when you start to dissect these things and pull these things out, this is where the incredible relationship is built. And we have platforms, and this is why I'm so big on results, Matt. I think for the most part, if people can understand what the results are, the experiences are from others stories and their experiences of working with us, they go, Matt Benelli's an amazing person. We can use Prosecco and Post for a second here, Matt. So if anybody doesn't know, Matt owns a postcard company called Prosecco and Post. And what's really interesting is that I can have Prosecco and Post hammered on me all day long. Sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up. But I've got Matt Benelli and Aaron Daniels in my world they're both owners of this and I work with them fairly often. They never say, hey, how can we get this out to everybody else out there? How can we get this out to your people? But I have this incredible relationship with both of you guys. And when I hear from others, and this is the important thing, when I hear from others going, oh my gosh, I love their postcards. Oh my gosh, I love how it impacts my people. Then all of a sudden, when I come across somebody who needs it, it's really easy for me to go, oh, this is who you need to talk to. And this is the best business you can build is open these doors up where you're not selling, but you're creating the opportunity for the selling situation to happen when the opportunity is there. And this is where like business can explode for people. You're not chasing it. You're not, hounding people. It just, when it shows up, it blossoms. It blooms into an incredible flower.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing Prosecco and Post. And I will even say there, like we've resisted doing certain marketing for so long, probably to our own detriment, because we're like, we want to make sure the right message goes out. And when you look at your sales process and your marketing cycle, the question of qualification has to be in there. How do we qualify the right people to put the right message in front of? Because if you're just going to put that sales message in front of everybody, going back to the gym analogy here, like if it's just here's the deal, here's the deal, here's the deal, it's just hardcore sales versus asking a question like after you left that workshop or whatever you went to at Orange Theory is like, hey Garrett, we wanted to reach out. We noticed you didn't sign up and we're curious as to why. What would need to be different for you to sign up? Like what are you looking for? And qualify your audience. And this is even more important in long sales cycle like real estate, because not everybody you get in front of is ready to buy or sell a home. And so we want to qualify where people are at so that we understand what is the communication going to look like to still have and maintain and build a good relationship so that when they're ready to, we can then have the triggers that identify like, okay, Garrett's ready to work out now. Now let's put an offer in front of him. When you have these conversations, all of a sudden you write back, say, you know what, I am thinking I do need to get into a routine. Awesome. Hey, we do have these classes. Which one might work best for you? It's like, hey, that one could work great. Why don't you come in for a class, try it out? And now you're in there and then the sales happens right there. for some reason, that just seems to make a whole lot more sense than just pounding somebody via text message. But when you are just trying to make a sale and you don't have a process well, really it's two processes, right? You're either missing the relationship building process or you're missing the offer and sale process. And a lot of realtors fall into I don't have the offer and sales process. But there are also several that like, hey, I want all the leads, but they don't have the relationship process to keep those leads. And that's when they go into their CRM, Garrett, and they're like, hey, I have 4,000 people in here. Should I send something out? It's like, well, do you even know those people? It's like, well, no, they were like open house and we never talked after that.
Well, and that's where I see it get really strange is when you get into this, and this is where I think it changes, is you get this little element of scarcity that pops up. And we've all had it happen. I've had it happen. Matt, you might have had it happen. Where it's like
definitely. All time.
All of a sudden it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this business. And then there's this little voice that says, but maybe I should reach out to these people and see if I can re-engage it. Maybe I should reach out. I should probably make some phone calls today. And instead of making phone calls that are just about building relationships, I've got this little voice in the back of my head that says, but I'm doing this because I'm going to I need to build and generate some business out here. And so we have this great phone call with somebody, and then there's this little voice in our head that says, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Be careful, careful. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, and I just want to check in, if you know anybody, or hey, and then all of a sudden you watch that energy, this wonderful thing just wilt and go, ugh. And it's like, oh, crap. Like I saw myself doing it. I was watching myself do it. Like,
it's so funny too, because and I don't feel bad if you've done this before.
We've all done it.
We all done it. And you, even if you create a sales wall that you can't break down with someone, there's somebody else out there, right? But I think the underlying challenge here is tying the reason for the action to the intention of the action, right? So a phone call, of course, the reason that you're calling people is because you want to grow your business. That's totally fine. The whole reason why you're checking in with somebody who came to a workshop is because you want to build your business. Totally fine. But if your intention for the call is tied directly to the reason of like, well, my intention here is to convert this person to a client, instead of the intention being, how do I serve this person, learn more about this person, and build a relationship, you could find a challenge here. Now, some people do great sales by just hammering through, which is awesome. There's a short story here. I do a lot of Instagram DMs and stuff. So like if you follow me on Instagram, you're probably going to get a message from me saying thanks, and hopefully we'll start a conversation if you want to. If not, whatever. The reason why I do that is because I want to learn about the people who follow me, because maybe there is a potential solution in the things that I do that I could provide for those people. Also, it's great to meet people. Well, I messaged somebody and oh man, I got like 9 to 10 messages back from this person that was just, I'm an agent here. If you have people, you should refer me, blah, 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 blah. Here's my links. Here's all these things. And if you're listening, that this is you, like, I don't want to call you out, but it was a big turnoff for me of like, oh, you just want to be here to try to get me to give you business when I don't even know you.
It's like a sucker fish. It's like, if you can think in the ocean, it's like that sucker fish, the big shark swimming along, and the sucker fish goes, I know that dude's going to eat something at some point in time. There's probably going to be some leftovers roaming around. So I'm just going to stick on the side of him, and we're just going to ride this thing to hopefully when there's something that's going to kind of blow off the side maybe. And I think that's that feeling of like, I can't shake you off of me. It's like, and that I've watched, and we can jump back into real estate here for a second, because that's where we spend a lot of time. I watch a lot of people that go, I feel like I'm being ghosted. I feel like no one's like, they're not answering my phone calls anymore. And it's like, you might be the sucker fish that they're going like, how do I get this off of me? Like, what is going on? Like,
yeah. Well, and it's funny, on the other side of that, I have another DM conversation going right now with someone who I know is going to try to sell me their service. I know it because we're in a very similar coaching program and I know the strategy, but they keep asking me questions and I kind of feel obligated to answer because they're good questions and they do seem genuinely interested. And so I know their reason for the conversation, but their intention feels different, which makes me feel good. And I also know at the end of the day, if there's not a match, this person isn't going to be like, well, I hate you for not using me to do this thing, they're going to be like, all right, cool, man. Well, hey, if there's ever an opportunity, let me know. And probably a month, 2, 3, 4 months from now, I'll get another message from that person saying, hey, just wanted to check in and see how you're doing with that thing that I could help with that you chose me not to help you with because you had this path. And I just wanted to see how that's working. Right. That's the way to build the relationship so that you're not pushing product. And that conversation's going well. And who knows, maybe it will result in a sale for that person. I'm also trying to sell that person and get to know them as well. So there's a weird competitive thing going on here, but it's awesome. It's fun. It's engaging. Whereas you just drop the bomb on people like, oh, you guys are getting divorced? Great. Well, do you need to sell the house? Sales wall for sure. Right.
Well, and it's a dance, and it's one of those things that we all play with, and you got it. And this is like, it's like getting good at a dance. It's getting good at, like, we'll use the tango for an example. It's like there's this give and take, and you're working together with each other. And what we're watching here is that there's these places that you can see that it's, pushing back, and you all know when you start to feel it. And when you feel that, the number one thing you need to do is step back. Just step back and say, okay, well, what can I talk about? Well, we're not talking about business anymore. We're going back into the relationships. If the business comes back out of it, bonus, amazing, that's awesome. When you start to realize that situation is starting, the one thing you also need to understand is the harder I push, I'm going to lose the business no matter what. There is no recovering of like, well, maybe if I push harder this way or that way, I can get this piece of business. No, you've already lost it if you continue with that approach. Your only option is to step back and engage in a different way that has nothing to do with the business and take that element out of it. And then you might get them, depending on how big you built this wall, Matt, you might get them to circle back around. And I've when we say we've all done it, I personally have watched the wall get built with really good relationships, good people that I've built over time. And all of a sudden you watch this wall get built and it's like, oh my gosh, can I now recover from this? And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I would say when you see the wall get built, don't always just go like, darn it, lost that. Like never could do that again. Because again, that's a mind that's very focused on the business. And if you can figure out to say, okay, let's again, let the business go back to the relationship, it will come back around. And Matt, becomes very, very, very clear when we watch somebody who is retiring or is in a place of, I don't need to sell anymore to have the lifestyle that I want. I don't need to push this product anymore. And I don't care whatever your business is, whatever you're offering. When you get to a place of, I'm not doing this to survive, I'm not doing this because I have to have that next sale to make this work, all of a sudden, your business becomes very attractive because all it is about you providing great service. You're doing it because you love doing it, and people love your service that you're providing. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, my business is taking off. And I've always like, why weren't you doing that from the beginning? Like, but man, that scarcity and needing to make the sale, we feel like it's like the motivation that builds us. And a lot of times, especially with building relationship business, it's the thing that tears it down.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be the motivation to drive you to take action. But when that starts to then come through, I mean, in real estate, we call it commission breath. In the car world, they call it commission breath. I mean, in any sales world, they call it that. But some people call it sales breath, closing breath. You want to avoid that. And I will also add this too, Garrett, that sales wall that sometimes gets built that we've all done. Sometimes it also could be a mismatch on your client, the people that you're trying to attract. So also if all of a sudden you're seeing some walls come up, that could be because that's not your ideal client. Now, if it's with everybody, then we got something we got to work on. But I mean, I've had situations, even just with coaching, Garrett, where I'll talk to people about that. And they're like, oh no, I like, they don't want to be coached. And that's totally cool. And so they just don't want to interact with me because they know that I'll probably bring that coaching vibe. Totally fine. Like, great. You're not my people. And at some point, maybe we will be. We see this with Gary Vee. He mentions this on his social media, right? Where people will say, at first, I didn't like you because you're aggressive and you curse. And then I started really consuming your content and now I do like you, right? And so that can happen too for you people. So those sales walls can come down. It's going to depend on your aggressiveness. As you said, Garrett, if you're taking someone's human situation and turning it into a direct sales opportunity for yourself, that's probably going to build a higher sales wall than making an offer at the inopportune time and then backtracking and trying to build the relationship, right? So that scarcity brain, though, is so important. I don't want to gloss over that in terms of how we think, and then being able to consciously notice that for ourselves so that we can adjust our pattern of communication, learn from what we're doing. Sometimes we also just don't know, right, Garrett? Like, how many salespeople have you seen come into an industry where they're trained to do something some way, and they're like, "But I'm told this is what to do," and they're not getting results, and then they learn a different way, and all of a sudden it's working, right? So it could also just be what you know at the moment.
Well, Matt, almost every sales training out there is, when do you ask for the sale? Always be closing. Like, it's like this, like, hey, if there's no sales here, I'm moving along. Like, how fast do we figure out that this person's either a benefit to us or a waste of our time? Like, this is trained out here all the time. There's books on it. I've got tons of them in my bookshelf. Like, it is a very easy trap to fall into. And it's one of those things that, I get it, in the aspect of, we have limited time in front of us. We are sacrificing sometimes time away from the people that we love to be out here in the working world, here to build a business, here to grow. Really, what's going to benefit my family and my life is, I got to make a sale, because if I'm not making sales, I got to explain to my family why dad goes off every single day. And then, like, I don't know what he does out there, but we're not making any money. So, like, is this really working? Like, there's all these elements that start to come into it. And really, at the end of the day, we can get lost in that, making the sale, pushing the sale. And there's a way to do it. And this is where we've talked about for so long. It's our background of where we come from, which is, when you build these incredible relationships and these people have the opportunity to see what your value is, the sales just naturally come. The challenge is sometimes is we spend either so much time on the relationship that we never have a way of bringing in the results. And this is why I said results are so powerful. They never get to see the other people's experiences of what they're having with our business. It's kind of this other thing. You get this friendship, and then way over here, you've got this thing that you do for business. And if people can't make that connection, it's really hard for them to go, oh, and that helps me also. Like, for instance, I've got a really good friend, known him for a long time. He used to work at the power plant here in our town. We have a very large dam. There's a power plant at the bottom of it, provides all the power for our lovely town, half of it. What's interesting is like, I know what he used to do. I know that he managed the entire power plant. Other than me flicking the light on and power coming into my house, there's no sale to happen. There's no, like, I'm not referring him any business. He's not all of a sudden going like, hey, Garrett, I'm like, can we talk about your power and how you're using your power right now? Like, there's no conversations like that. That is just Dave and I being friends. And Dave and I have been friends for a long time, and I love Dave. I think when we run a business and a sales business, we can easily get into that relationship with people, because we never go down that route, that we're just building this. I love Matt Benelli. Matt Benelli's awesome. We're great friends. We have all these good, but if I can't see that there's these results that could actually benefit my world, I can never cross that bridge. And that's that danger zone of, do we go, let me tell you about my business and what I'm doing? Or do we create an environment that lets other people know, oh my gosh, this is how I was working with Dave out at the power plant. And did you know he would come and do an assessment of your house and let you know how you can be more efficient to lower your power bills? That's a different place of me going, I did not realize that was even an option. By the way, I just made that up. That piece wasn't an option. But those are those things.
Maybe it is, though, and Dave just hasn't told you.
Maybe it is. He's been holding out on me this whole time.
Come on, Dave.
But that's the power. And so the reason we brought this up is, this was put on my list because I was watching somebody that was in a real estate situation. They were working with a client, and that deal did not come together. And you could watch the motivation of these people in the moment of buying a house kind of fade out. And the agent said, how can I re-engage them to get them back in the home selling process right now. And the whole thing went into, how can we help you guys get to buying the next house? And it blew up the relationship. The sales wall went up. All of a sudden, this person's like, no, we're good. We're good. Like, oh, hey, we'll call you. We're going to call you when we're ready. Thanks so much. And it would have been either a much better approach to say, sales off to the side, re-engage them in their world and their life, get them on their normal drip mailing list. They know what you do. They're very clear on what you do. You build this relationship now and be there and ready for them. So when those right conversations come up, you can then engage them, but they've got to bring it up. Like at this point going forward, and this is the important thing, they've got to bring it up. The minute you bring it up, bring out the brick and mortar, man. You're building a wall.
Yeah. I'll give this one kind of, I think, way to look at this, right? For any salesperson, because a lot of times we just get so tied to the product and service. Like, I need to sell this for me, as you were saying, like, why is dad coming home without any money after going to work? Look at yourself like a broker, where you have a product or service, whether it's yours or somebody else's. I mean, real estate, we should look at it this way, right? Because we don't own the product, we own the service. But elevate yourself to the broker. And what a broker does is find matches, right? So you're trying to see, hey, is this service or product a match for this person? And if you always look at yourself as that, trying to make matches, and be a broker or a matchmaker is even a better description here, then you're going to ask questions, you're going to qualify, and you're not going to push. So like in that situation that you just mentioned too, it's like, okay, elevate to matchmaker here. It's not, how can I get these people into a home? It's, let me ask some questions to figure out why this deal didn't work, so we can talk about what other things out there might be better for them at this point in time. And when you're doing matchmaking, most of the time things don't match. Most of the time we find, oh, these things don't match, which actually saves you time in the long run, saves the client time in the long run. It's like, hey, we just qualified this so that we know that, hey, our product and service isn't a match for this person. Awesome. We can just kind of let the relationship continue on this path until they are a match. Or maybe it is a match and we find the right questions and opportunities to present that actually bring those two things together. And if you look at yourself as that broker and matchmaker, I think it makes it so much easier to leave the scarcity brain behind and focus on a different goal that also brings in a whole lot of abundance for everybody. So great topic, man.
No, I'm happy we got to kick this around, because it's one of those ones that we watch happen all the time. We do it ourselves when we get into that mode of scarcity. And you all know it. You all know when it's happening, and you've all watched somebody do it, and you all know when it's been done to you, and nobody likes it. And I think it's one of the reasons a lot of salespeople say, I don't like salespeople. I think it's why a lot of people who get into sales do everything they can to not act like a salesperson, is exactly what we're talking about right now. Because it can damage the situation that's right in front of you that you're really trying to help. You're trying to, bring benefit and value to, is really where your heart is. You're trying to bring benefit and value, but you got to be careful. So with that being said, Matt, thank you so much for kicking this around with me. And moving forward here, we got the 11 circle. So if any of you are interested in being around an incredible group of people that are growing, collaborating, working together, it's a big word.
That's a big word.
We have the 11 circle, and we've got incredible live coaching happening in there. We've got a book review coming up, as Matt was talking about. We're going to be doing different books here periodically. Buy Back Your Time is the book that we're going to be actually doing here coming up.
We just did.
We just
did
do
it, but we just did it.
This is how the podcast works when
That's
you record
crazy.
a little bit in advance. So Buy Back Your Time is that book. And again, we'd love to have you in there. I know you're going to find a ton of value in it. If you go in there and you don't find a ton of value, come to me. Let's talk about it. And I want to figure out a way that we can make it be the group that you were hoping it was going to be. Because we are, that's the fun part about building something brand new from scratch. And Matt and I are the full creators, with my lovely wife, Sarah, who runs the backside of all of this. We get to make it any way we want. And if we find that there's a way to add more value for you, guess what? We're going to do it. And that's what I love about this world that we're creating, Matt. So, Matt, thank you for helping me and us build this whole thing to what it's going to be. And for all of you out there, thank you for listening. If you find value in this, share it with the people that you know, you love, your spouses, your business, partners that you're working with. Share this all over the place. Spread the message. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.